What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. How are we tonight? Welcome to Horror Hotline's first debut episode.
Here we go. Yeah. Oh my God, there's so many people watching. So why don't you tell us about what we're going to do?
So tonight we are going to be bringing you guys some spooky stories. We also have some generous fans that are going to be calling in and giving us their spooky stories for the night. So that's pretty exciting.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be awesome. I'm excited to hear the stories.
Absolutely.
The spooky tales that you guys have for us. And then we're also going to be bringing you a trivia question here soon. So stay tuned for that as well.
Absolutely. So we've got, we're going to do, I think we're going to do a couple. We'll start the episodes out with some trivia each time, and then we'll give the answer at the end of the episode, if that makes sense, right?
Yep. Sounds good to me.
What is in that glass? Oh, that's your lipstick all over
my lip gloss. You know, Ulta, they don't make the most.
Oh, all right.
It transfers, okay?
Fair enough. Where's Jason?
Yeah, where's my bestie?
Right,
What's going on there? Jason
is live. There we go. That'll get him here in about 15 seconds.
Bex
All
is
right,
waiting.
so our trivia question, and we will probably repeat it again, once we get a little deeper into the episode, but the answer will come at the end of the episode. Do not jump in and just start putting stuff into the chat, please.
Are they supposed to keep it to themselves, or are they allowed to guess in the chat?
No, they aren't allowed to guess in the chat. Not till we say, all right, let's see the guesses.
Okay, so no discussions.
Let's see the guesses. Now let's see the guesses when the time comes, I think. I don't think we jump on that immediately. All right. Let's see. Here's the question. Oh, now we've got our lower thirds on there. All right. So, name a horror franchise that was based on an episode of The X-Files. The answer will be coming up at the end of the show. And in the meantime, I will leave this up for a moment. Let me see. What is that? Enter full screen. Oh, that's so we can enter full screen.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Didn't know we could do that.
I didn't know we could do that either, but then we can't see the chat.
Boo.
So let's see. So what comes next? So again, I'm going to say the question one more time. Name a horror franchise that was based on an episode of The X-Files. And Sam better know this. Sam should know this.
Out of everybody.
Sam, yeah, absolutely. Sam should know this. All right. And that breaks us into our storytelling time. Yes.
And I know you have a good one for us. You were really
I've got
excited
an
to tell it.
old school LA-based story about some of our favorite people from the past. Well, that was the puppy.
Lilith also has a story to tell.
Lily's got stories to
she's
tell
hungry.
all the time. She's always got the time. All right, so the story is LA based, out of Los Angeles. It's one of the best destinations for haunted houses, finding places that
in
LA.
LA.
Yep. This is a Bavarian style home in Beverly Hills. It has a particularly gruesome history. In 1932, it was home to the iconic actress Jean Harlow and her abusive husband, Paul Byrne, who shot himself in the head while standing in front of the mirror.
What?
Yeah. Their butler discovered him and called MGM instead of the police.
That's MGM.
You know,
That's
they called the studio instead of the police. So there's tons of rumors going around that wasn't actually a suicide.
Right. Well, who the heck calls MGM before they call? Yeah.
Well,
what the heck? That makes no
actor's
sense.
butler, apparently. Many suspected Byrne's ex-girlfriend. A suspicion exasperated by her jumping off a boat to her death a couple of days later.
Wait a minute. So they thought that the ex-girlfriend.
Right. They suspected the ex-girlfriend, and a couple days later, she
suicided. She said goodbye.
She says goodbye and jumps off of a boat to her death a couple of days later. Gene moved out after his death, but died only a few years later at the age of 26.
What? That's
Yeah.
weird.
In 1963, there was a celebrity hairstylist named Jay Sebring. He bought the home, lived there with his girlfriend, Sharon Tate.
Wait a minute. I know that name.
Yeah, until she left him for Roman Polanski.
I don't know that name.
Yes, you do. You got all right. You are definitely Googling
Sharon
when you
Sharon
get home.
Tate sounds familiar.
You are definitely Googling when you get home. They were still friends and remained so until both of them were murdered by Charles Manson.
That's why it's familiar,
Well, not
because
by Charles Manson,
I'm
by his
watching
cult.
Aquarius right now. Sharon Tate. Okay.
It's by his cult murdered him. Tate was the same age as Harlow when she died.
That's creepy.
Right.
That can't be a coincidence, right?
Right. But back to when the couple lived in the Harlow house, Tate told several friends of creepy occurrences in the home and even mentioned it in interviews. For example, once when she was sleeping in the master bedroom alone, she saw a creepy little man. Her friends say she believed it to be Paul Byrne's ghost. She was so freaked out when she saw the alleged ghost that she ran out of the room and then saw a hanging, shadowy corpse with its throat slit in the hallway. There are also stories about 2 other people dying in the swimming pool over the years. This is not, well, all right. First of all,
What?
L.A.
Back up.
Things happen in L.A. apparently more than they happen everywhere else. But,
Well, yeah, I mean, we all kind of know that, but that's eerie.
Right.
That's definitely something to look
it's
into.
creepy.
That is a creep factor for sure.
Absolutely. But such a good, there's got to be so much more there. I'm sure we could just research and do a whole episode just on that whole.
Right? Wouldn't it be cool to go there?
Oh, yeah.
That would be super cool.
Absolutely. Maybe we can set up a little running around the house and doing some ghost hunting.
Send me in by myself like you
Right.
plan to. Nice.
Absolutely. So next, I think
Is it time for a caller?
it's time for your mom.
Yeah, guys. So we're
It's
bringing
time
my
for your
mom
mom.
on our debut episode. She's very nervous, so be nice.
Yes, nobody listened to me dialing or using the keypad.
No taking
Right,
my
right.
mom's cell phone number.
Oh no, I'm gonna call your mom now. Hold on. Let me make sure this Bluetooth is connected.
Had her on
Right.
speed dial.
Let's see. 6. Oh yeah, I do hear it in the headphone. We're good. 623 826.
You're saying it out loud, Thomas.
I am. Let's back up and do the last 1430. No, I'm kidding. That's not the right number.
Trolling.
All right.
No, but my family has a lot of haunted history, and a lot of us, almost every single family member that I can think of, has at least 1 or 2 spooky,
Good
unexplainable
ghost
stories.
Nice.
Yeah. I have like 8, but
You
yeah,
only
my
have
mom
8?
definitely has a few. 8 is like a low estimate of all my experiences, but yeah, my mom's definitely got some good older ones, you
Right.
know, that haven't been like tainted throughout the years. So
Awesome. Well, I've heard this story once now, and I can't wait to hear it again. I'm excited for it. Sean's here. Sean Pinkerton. How we doing, brother?
hi, Sean. What's up? Thanks for tuning in.
And who else is here? I see somebody else is here too. We're going to call this lovely lady Beth or Julie, right? Julie's your mom's name, not Beth.
Julie.
Why did I say
Who's
Beth?
Beth?
I used to know a Julie Beth. That's why, or Beth, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Julie.
And Chad.
Chad's here.
Awesome, Chad.
Make sure you guys check out the question,
Oh, yeah.
our trivia question. Name a horror franchise that was based on an episode of The X-Files.
Yep.
And we're going to be taking your answers at the end. So.
Exactly. So don't go spoiling things. Hang on. I haven't heard from Sam yet.
Sammy Sam.
Let me see where he is. Because we're friends on Facebook. There he is. How are you? HRU. Haru?
Her?
Haru? All right, now let's call your mom at 1438. I have no idea. What's up, Chad? The phone is ringing.
Hello?
This is the Horror Hotline calling.
That's your daughter.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
We are anxiously awaiting for the story that you have to tell us tonight. So,
Yes.
Well, first of all, let's talk about your day. How was your day?
Well, you would know. You were there.
I know.
Oh, your mom was at this whole drinking festival?
Well, we work for the same company. So, yeah, we were there. They handed us like these huge mugs of beer because we thought we were ordering a cocktail and they handed us beer and we were like, no, we're not drinking this. Like, give it back. But yeah, she was
Yeah, we were a little diva, because like we both took a sip and I looked at him, I'm all, is this beer? He's like, yeah,
definitely
you're
Beck's
at like
mom.
a
That
beer
is definitely a
garden.
Beck's mom thing.
right. She had no problem returning it. So.
Right?
I was like, no, I don't like this.
Yeah. So this story, Mom, we want to give us a little background, who all is involved and all the goods.
Yeah, so it was basically my mom, me, and my siblings, and I was probably about 8th grade, right around in that age, and then my brother was probably about 9, 10-ish, somewhere in there, and so just to preface it, like I would say, us kids have always kind of had like weird things that happen to us, kind of like unexplained, possibly kind of explained things, and so sometimes like when I tell people these stories, I'm not speaking in like a frightened manner because
right.
it's
You're
just
like, no,
so
this is so
normal.
casual.
Yeah, like it's just like, yeah, this happened, and people are looking at me like, oh my God, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But but yeah, so like I said, my brother was about 9-ish, somewhere in there, and we had these family friends that we didn't really see too much. We never really went to their house. They just I babysat her kids for a little bit, and so she would bring them to like our home. So, and they lived a little kind of far from us. And so like there was this one time where we had gone over for some reason. I can't remember if we were helping them, if it was around Christmas or something, but we were over at their house for a little bit and then hung out with their kids. And then we left and we went home, and my brother asked my mom, he's like, when did they move? And she's like, what do you mean? That's as long as we've known them, that's where they've lived. And as far as she knew, they had lived there since their kids were little. And he's
Right.
like, well, no, I remember the last time we went and saw them, they were in this different house. And she's like, we're like, no, like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And so he was so adamant about it and serious. He was like, how do you guys not remember this? Like, this
Right. Like,
wasn't
why
that long ago.
are you acting like I'm making this up right now?
Yeah. He's like, and so he's like, I know where the house is at. Like, I could show you. I remember how to get there. And he drew out this little kid type map.
Right.
And we were like, okay. And so, it was like a weekend. So we're like, we're bored. Let's just throw him in the truck and let's just go see if he can actually show us what he's talking about.
Right.
Because
all right,
we
Mr.
all kind
Smarty
of
Pants,
said,
get
Put
in
your
the
money where
car.
your
Yeah.
mouth is. Let's go.
yeah. And we all kind of like, we were like, maybe you had a dream. Like maybe you're getting something mixed up with like a dream or
Right.
something. So we had a little Nissan pickup truck with a camper on the back. And so him and my mom got in the front and me and my sister were just in the back. And we drove, and to be
Back
honest,
in the
I don't
day
remember.
when we did that.
Right.
Yes, with no seatbelt, just thrown in the back.
Yeah,
When that
exactly.
was legal.
Yeah, nobody cared. It
No.
was all fine. And so we,
Back when we didn't
get-
wear seatbelts, too. I remember.
right, I was going to say, yeah, we
Hold on
didn't
for
really.
dear life.
Yeah.
Oh,
usually-
I remember my dad making a slide in the back seat. He would take turns so that we would like bash up against one side and then he'd do the
Oh,
other one.
crazy.
We had
Oh,
some like
crazy.
old. We had this beautiful white Nova, like old, like.
Oh, my
yeah,
God.
it was like a '68 or something. It
Yeah,
was
my mom was
beautiful.
never
Well,
like that with us
yeah.
kids. Okay.
Yeah,
No,
they
I'm
were
totally
opposite, of
slapping
course,
around in
but-
the back. Yeah.
I was going to say we're and that's why as we're older, we're like indestructible. Like you can't hurt us,
Yeah.
Nothing.
Exactly.
We've been
Nothing
thrown
phases
around
you.
pickup
This is
trucks.
Gen X, man.
Yep. But yeah, so we get down to wherever we're going, and I really don't remember where it was at, but I kind of like remember. I feel like it was like downtowny type Phoenix, like maybe like 27th Avenue, Van Buren, like those types of areas.
Right.
And because it was like super old houses, and we'd take his little map, and he literally just was like, turn here, turn here, turn here. And
so he knew exactly.
We're like,
left
what?
here, right here.
Yeah. And then as we're driving, my mom is like, okay, like, we don't know anybody that lives down
over
here.
Right.
Like, where are
yeah,
we?
like, yeah. And, you know, I mean, when my mom and dad first had me, like, we lived down around Fillmore, but, like, you know, my brother wasn't even born yet. So we're like,
How
there's
would you
no
know?
other, yeah, there's no other, there's no explanation for this. It's really weird. And so we get down there, and we park like across the street from the house that he was pointing at. He's like, it's right there. And he was just kept like, that's it. And we're like, Josh, we've never been here. Yeah. We're like, we've never been here. And I don't know why, because like I said, my sister and I were in the back, and those camper shells, like there's a window, so you can't like talk to the people in the front seat. So I don't know why, but my brother he got out, and he like walked across the street. My mom had her window rolled down.
Right.
And he walked up the steps. There was just like it was like an old house, and it was just like a little front patio looking thing. It had like a bench on it. And he walked up towards the front door, but then he turned and was facing like this little bench, and he was just like standing there for about a good minute or so. And you could kind of see his hands moving, almost like you're talking.
Right, like he's talking to someone.
And he's like nodding.
Oh,
yeah, he's like nodding his head, and and then he walks back towards the truck, and he goes to my mom's window, and my mom's like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, yeah, I guess. He said, I don't know. He goes, that old guy on the bench over there said that's his house.
Oh, boy.
Old man who?
Yeah,
And
who wasn't there?
Yeah, and so, like, and he's saying it all casual, like, yeah, he lives there, you know. And my mom's like, who lives there?
Right.
And he's all, that guy. And then he turned around when he said it. He's all, that guy. And he pointed to the bench, and then all of a sudden he just, like, turned to my mom, and he's, like, completely white as a ghost. And just said, he just yelled, drive! And he ran around the truck and just jumped in the back of the camper with us kids. He didn't even go all the way around to his door.
He's like, I'm not even thinking about this anymore. Let's get out of here.
Oh, my God.
And to be honest, other than that story, like itself that we've like casually told people, like we never talked about it like with each other after that.
Like you were just
like
we're not.
We all just went home and went to bed. Like we didn't like go home and sit down like what the heck just happened. We were like,
right.
This is a normal occurrence in this family.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Super.
That's so crazy.
Does he like recall? I forgot to ask. Does he like remember any of that? Have you ever asked him?
You know, not as an adult. Like I know that he and I have
him
like,
call in.
Right?
Yeah, right. I remember like him mentioning, like we kind of briefly talked about it again, but like so many things like happened after that like we never talked about it again. It was just the strangest thing. And I
how
believe,
he drew a map to a whole random
Right.
stranger's house and then talked to a spirit on a bench. That's
right?
That's the makings of a movie.
But all right, so
we make
part
a
of my
movie out
part
of
of,
that?
absolutely part of my brain goes, all right, so if I was fucking around with a kid and I want to mess with my parents,
right?
this is the kind of shit I would do until I get to the point where he goes, that old man just yelled drive.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he runs around. I literally got chills up and down my spine when you told that part of the story. So no.
Absolutely terrifying.
All right, can we just call him randomly right now and add him to the call?
He's probably sleeping.
Yeah.
Where is he? Another part of the world?
No. He lives in Queen Creek, but he works.
No,
very
he
late.
gets up
He's a hard
super
worker.
early. So,
All right.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
That would be just, but if he's sleeping and we wake him up,
Right.
and we start asking him ghost stories, he's never going back to sleep.
You'll open up a trauma. Like maybe he doesn't want to remember.
Right.
You know what's funny is I was thinking of this like on my way home today, and I was like, God, I forgot about this. But we have some extended family that when we moved up to Washington, the grandmother, when she met me, which is really weird, she met me first time meeting me. She told me, she said, you have something. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, you have like, I see like you have a connection possibly to the other side. And it was the weirdest thing because I was like, okay. And she's like, you could, like, if you chose to
communicate
and broaden that and learn about it and all this. And I was like, no. And because I'm also a big scaredy cat.
Right.
So no. I don't want to open that door.
You're the type of person that knows that it's there, but you like acknowledge it from a distance. Like you're like, I'm not dabbling, but like I'm not going to say it's not there.
Not going to get into it because, and she knew, and the reason I was told is because she has like a super heightened connection like that, and she had a very creepy, weird thing, but it kind of was good and like a feel good thing, but where she had somebody from a payphone was constantly calling her house, and this was like back in the day, no cell phones, and constantly calling her house from like a payphone, and it would be like staticky, but it would say it was from the payphone at this grocery store, right?
Oh my God.
So
isn't that creepy?
So, and it was happening, and then there was, and some of the details may be a little foggy for me, but I do remember she said that eventually she was provided over this phone with a phone number.
Okay.
Like somebody said to call this number, let them know I'm okay.
What?
That's what it said. And it was about mom. It was a guy saying, call this number, let my mom know that I'm okay. And so she thought that maybe he didn't have a ride, and she's like, oh,
she didn't dig into it.
Okay.
She didn't dig deep.
Yeah.
She just said, oh, maybe somebody,
like,
maybe
whatever.
he just needed, misdialed the phone, whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a grocery store. She's like, oh, okay, whatever. And it was a grocery store that was near her that she knew of, and so she called the phone number, spoke to the woman who told her that her son had been killed.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on. You
Swear to
couldn't
God.
feel that coming? I felt that coming.
Yeah.
I've never heard this
I felt
story.
that coming from a million miles away.
This is new information for me.
You hadn't heard that story?
And the woman was crying. She was crying, but she was like, she said, it just makes me feel so good. Kind of like, he's reached out.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's definitely spooky.
Yeah, that's spooky.
All right, there went the second chill.
Right. It left the body.
It's gone. Okay.
Well, thank you for calling, Mom. Well, thank you for taking our call, and thank you for telling your story. I'm sure everybody appreciates it.
Absolutely.
And then we are going to go ahead and move on to our next caller if they're ready, and we'll go ahead and let you go. But love you, Mom. Thank you.
All right,
love you, Mom.
you.
Bye.
I hope you guys have a...
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that.
She said, fuck you, goodbye.
Did she say fuck you, goodbye? I thought she said you guys have a good show. Maybe I'm wrong.
She may have said that.
Maybe I'm wrong. I see Sam has joined us. Welcome, Sam. How are you this fine evening?
Yes, Sam joined the chat. Sam.
Summer. Oh, Sam. Text me your number. We won't go through that whole rigmarole of Google Voice where you have to, say who you are and all that stuff. Just drop your number in there and I'll call you.
Shammy.
Awesome. Fantastic is amazing. Well, no, fantastic is fantastic. Amazing is amazing.
Amazing is amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, can I tell you guys? I'll fill the silence. So I actually did not an exorcism. I don't do that. I'm not a professional. But
What the fuck are we gonna talk
a
about?
girlfriend that I work with, I'm not going to say names because I don't have permission, but a girlfriend I work with reached out to me because she knows that I dabble
Was it
in the
Sally?
spirit realm. No, Sally.
Was it Tracy?
Mustang Sally. No.
Right.
A girlfriend I work with reached out
Megan.
to me because she had a spirit in her apartment that she
Okay.
has felt has been there for a while.
Okay.
And she at first was not afraid of the spirit because it was very like just like noises and like just dainty things that she would feel and like a presence. And then she started like she would take a selfie, like she would have orbs showing up behind her and like she was getting really scared and paranoid. And so she was like, "Can you come over and like cleanse my house?" And I was like,
Oh, I thought you were gonna say she's dead.
no, I would probably be crying.
Probably.
No, she's very much alive. I saw her today, but I went over there and she basically just asked me to try to get rid of the spirit, right? And so that was the plan. So I go there and I'm cleansing and I'm telling her, I'm like, it can't just be me. Like, you need to want this spirit to go.
Right.
Like, every part of you needs to tell this entity that you don't want to interact. You don't want any of that nonsense. And so you need to expel it from your energy space.
Right.
So I'm going around and I'm doing it and I'm teaching her how to cleanse. And she's kind of she's talking to me like, well, like they've never like scared me or like anything like that. And I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, you were telling me that you were terrified.
Right.
And so as we're going through, I was just getting this feeling that she didn't she was more curious, right? Instead of fearful. And so I was like, do you want to try to communicate? I was like, I don't normally ask this, but the spirit's not going to go away if you don't want it to go away. So I was like, if you want to try to communicate, you can.
Right.
So we sat down, okay? I cast a circle, I did all the things, cleansed and all that. And we ended up talking to this entity. And the weirdest part, okay, this is where it gets really spooky. And I don't even remember what the lyrics were, but I use pendulum communication. And I had her sit down and use the pendulum. She's never used one before, ever. And she was sitting down and she asked the spirit if it had a message for her. And I kid you not, the spirit spelled out like, I wish I could remember the lyrics because it's song lyrics, but it spelled out something about like pigs in the sky, beautiful pie or something like that. I don't know. But I asked her, I was like, does that have a significance to you? I was like, does that mean anything to you? And she goes, oddly enough, she was like, my ex and I, when we were dating, she's been dating somebody or was dating somebody that she had just a toxic relationship with.
Right.
She was like, but our song had those lyrics in it. And she was like, and it's just really odd because what she had particularly asked the spirit was, do you have a message for me? Like, what are your intentions? And it spelled out that song, and that was their love song together.
There you go.
And so I was like, so do you feel like the spirit is trying to just give you love and affection and attention because it's what you're seeking? And she's like, maybe. And so she ended up befriending the spirit, and now she has a spirit guide.
Well, there you go.
Right?
Right.
It was a very unexpected turn. I was expecting to just get rid of an entity,
But
because
no.
most of the time they just like to leave. Like,
Now
they
they
just
have
need a little
kick.
push. But no, she loved it. And it gave her a special message.
It did. That's freaky.
Are we ready with Sam?
Sammy, are we ready? Sammy, here we come. Well, let's call. There we go. Phone should be ringing. There we go.
Hello.
This is the Horror Hotline. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic.
Do we make that a
How are
thing?
you?
I feel like it has to be a thing, right?
I think you need to go into the you're live on the Horror Hotline, right?
Right?
Yeah,
So,
no,
I
it's
think
really good.
I kind of like changing it every time, though. It's kind of like it keeps it
As
spicy.
long as you get those things in there and they know they're live on the friggin' thing, yeah, you could say whatever
Sam,
you want.
do you know you're live?
Sam knows.
Yeah, I assumed as such.
Sam knows. Wait, are you? Let's see. You were heading to California last?
Yeah, I didn't quite make it that far. And I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought Phoenix was still an hour off, so I apologize. But
For what?
yeah.
Now everybody knows we screwed up, but
Well, no,
they
I
didn't
screwed up.
until
It was
you
my
said that.
fault.
I mean, it
Yeah,
wouldn't have
it was-
mattered.
It's
Thanks
my
for ratting
fault.
us out, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, listening to you guys. First of all, you both have great radio voices, so that's
I got the face for radio,
you're pleasant
man.
to listen. You're pleasant to listen to. There's nothing worse than trying to listen to audio and somebody with just an irritating fucking voice that makes you want to put a screwdriver in your ear canal.
Right.
Um,
That's such a sweet compliment. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes, thank you.
but cool, creepy stories, and that's what we're here for.
That is what we're here
Creepy
for. I hear you
story.
have one for us. Oh, and
Yeah,
here I'm gonna
actually,
before we dig into that, Sam. I'm gonna. Did you catch that we're doing a trivia question tonight?
No, I missed that. What's the
All right,
trivia
so it's
question?
the bottom of the screen there. If you're looking at it, it says name
Okay.
a horror franchise that was based on an episode of the X-Files.
Oh shit!
And I said, if somebody knows what this is, it's going to be you.
A horror franchise.
I got it wrong.
Based on
I had no
episode-
idea. I've never seen the X-Files, so it's not a fair question for me.
Really? You never watched the X-Files?
I was a Criminal Minds child, okay? Law and Order, Criminal Minds.
Yeah, she had to be like 7 when that was going on, dude.
I remember it being on TV, but never watched it. Or I wasn't
because
allowed
your parents
to.
probably didn't let you.
Yeah, I probably wasn't allowed to.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it definitely was, more adult themed if you weren't very old when it was out. But okay, let me think here. I'm trying to remember. Oh God, I would say. I want to say Final Destination for some reason.
What the fuck?
Is that right?
That's fucking right,
That's
dude.
totally right. What
Totally.
the
Is that
heck?
right?
Totally right.
Props to you.
Well, no, I'll tell you why
Does he
why
get
I know
claps?
that.
Can we give him claps?
Who gets the call?
Hey, look at that. I love that you have the radio soundboard.
Right, you got to have the radio soundboard, dude. I need to actually program these things in so that they're actually more horror related.
I need a button over here.
These are even the stock ones that came with the board. I haven't even changed anything yet.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, Ted. I was a big X-Files fan for years. People gave me like trivia books at Christmas that I worked with because I was such a big X-Files fan back in the day, and I didn't even. And I'm a friggin' Final Destination fan too.
I love
so.
Final Destination.
I have a confession. The reason that I know that is I actually interviewed Jeffrey Reddick.
Oh,
He
you
was the
cheater.
guy.
No.
So Jeffrey was the guy who wrote the episode
Correct.
for the X-Files.
He's like, duh, I know. That's why I know
Yeah.
the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing it out a little bit, though.
Hey, I mean, it took me a second. I didn't remember, immediately off the top of my head. But yeah, I interviewed Jeffrey. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Pretty cool cat, man.
My guess was
Cool cat.
Hatchet.
That's fair. I mean, the X-Files, you know what? Actually, they released a book that has, like, every single episode of the X-Files almost was based on something that actually happened, or or a mythology, a real mythology that exists.
Someone's story.
The
most
Mothman. And,
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a really. I'll tell you what. As much as I love the X-Files, I was much more of a Frank Black fan.
Yeah.
Millennium.
Yep.
Did you watch
With our
Millennium?
good friend Lance Hendrickson.
Who?
Fucking love Hendrickson, man.
She
I want
just
some of
said
his
who.
pottery.
About
She just said who.
Millennium? What?
She just
She's
said
like,
who.
who the fuck is Lance? Lance Hendrickson is awesome. He makes pottery now. I'm trying to buy some of his pottery, actually, believe it or not.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he did. He was in Cyrus Mind of a Serial Killer, the movie I worked on. So I got
There
to
you go.
shake the man's hand. He's not as tall as you think he would be.
No, he's not. And what's funny is I've met him previously, but we were at a con. Actually, the same con we were at with Felissa, where we were on the live stream.
Yes.
And he walked right by me. I was in the middle of doing something on my phone, and I heard his voice like, yeah.
Right.
And Dan was like, you know who that was, you fucking idiot? I was like, who? He's like, it was Lance Hendrickson. I was like, oh, I'm such an asshole. I didn't even say hello.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see you doing that, actually.
Yeah, I know. I'm always distracted. So
You have a ghost story for us today.
Yeah, what's your
Yeah, I
spooky
do.
tale?
Well, it doesn't involve glory holes or burritos. I can tell you that.
Again?
I don't know if I have the stomach for another one of those.
Yeah, that one.
No
left a memory.
glory holes or burritos. These are real ghost stories. So the
That's
first
a TikTok
one
right there. We're putting that up.
Clip it.
first one that I have, I told you that Dan and I used to do a little, very, very amateur ghost hunting.
Yes.
And a friend of ours who lived down in Tennessee called us and asked us to come basically investigate her apartment. Evidently, she was having some kind of weird, like, cabinets were opening and closing, and just weird shit was happening during the night, which didn't make a lot of sense. But
Right.
the weirder thing was her son, who had never done it before they'd moved into this apartment, and he was a toddler, was like beating his head against the wall, which,
That's not good.
that's not, no, it sounds awful. It sounds awful. But, I looked it up. It is a thing that certain children do for lots of different reasons.
Okay.
Right.
Anyway, so we went down, and it's an apartment, just in an apartment building. This girl was, she was a nice single mom. She'd had issues with the son of the child previously, and I guess the guy was a real asshole, and like he was kind of abusive, at least mentally abusive. And so anyway, there was some issues, and she also kind of had a history of drug abuse. She was sober then, but hadn't been sober in the past. Whatever. I just say all that because you were talking about energy, and in my experience, negativity tends to follow negativity.
More
Yeah.
negativity.
Ten-
Yeah, it spreads like wildfire.
Tends to follow negativity. So we went in and we set up a couple of cameras and a couple of EVP recording machines, and went lights out, shut the lights out. And the kids were actually there. I mean, she had put the son in question, the one that had an issue with beating his head against the wall, to bed along with their other child. And we told her, just, chill out. We're just going to kind of do our thing and see what happens.
Kind of just like act normal, like how you normally would.
Yeah, just kind of do whatever you would normally do and just kind of pretend that we're not here, which is obviously hard to do when there's
Cameras
two
With you two fuckers in the house.
weird
alone
fucking
with you
guys
two.
hanging out in your apartment. So we went lights out, and it wasn't 5 minutes, man. And I started hearing this thump, 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 rhythmic beating. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
So we got up, we went in, we go into this kid's room, and he's sitting up, and I couldn't tell if he was like in some kind of trance, and he was just beating his fucking little head against the wall.
What?
And like his forehead just thump, thump, thump over and over and over again. She was like, he's doing it again. She showed me the wall. This kid had worn a fucking groove
into
the
wall.
wall. Wow.
Into the fucking wall where he was just banging his head.
Right.
And she came in, and she had this little routine with him when he would do that, where she would try to calm him back down, and he would lay back down, and about an hour later, thump,
Right back
thump.
at it.
Ugh.
Kid gets up, and what was weird is she would talk to him. His name was like, I forget what the fuck it was. I feel terrible now, but she would say his name, and it took him like a full minute to come out of whatever trance he was in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so at the same time all of this happens, she had a door that actually went into kind of like a basement area. So we're in there with the kid, and we hear this fucking door slam, and I was like, "What was that?" Dan jumps up. We run into, and there was nobody else there. It was literally us, her, the kids, and one other person that we had operating cameras, but they weren't anywhere near the door.
Right.
We looked at the door. We tried to debunk it. Like, there was no windows open. There was nothing that could have caused it to slam. And then the kid did it again before we left.
Oh, Jesus.
Just beating us. So, I mean, obviously, I recommended to her that she needed to take the child to see doctor, number one, probably a therapist, and
well, God, if you're banging your head up against the wall that much, you have to have a migraine.
I still do that.
At the very minimum.
Maybe buy the little kid a fucking helmet or something, man. I don't know.
Some safety precautions.
Get him a motorcycle. Make him excited about it.
Yeah, fucking something. Because this little dude had worn a groove in the wall. Well, we also had an EVP recorder, and we didn't hear it at the time, but when we went back and played it for ourselves,
right?
You could hear something talking that should not have been in that fucking room.
No. Three of them.
Was it like
chills down my spine?
Was it like a creepy, like voice? Or?
No. It was soft. It was like.
Tell me you still have those recordings.
I believe we do actually.
Ooh,
you can't make
cool.
you can't make out what it's actually saying, but it literally it sounds like there's some. And this is, it's dead silence, just the kid in the room by himself, and you hear the thumping. Right. But behind that, it sounds like something is fucking whispering to this kid.
That's scary.
Jeez.
That sounds like a negative entity for sure. Like,
no question about it at all. So
especially if it's causing physical harm. That's not something to fuck around with.
Well, and again, I go back to like researching it. I mean, some children do that. It's like a comfort thing, especially children that have been abused or been around abusive situations. There are a lot of incidents of kids that, like, I guess it's the rhythmic, the thumping, I don't know exactly what you.
Right. Yeah. He's not bashing his head against the wall. He's kind of just like tapping.
I'm not suggesting that the kid was possessed or anything like that. I'm just saying that, like, it was very weird in addition to the other shit that happened.
Right. That's like everything else going into that. Yeah.
Correct.
Because if you just had a kid thumping his head against the wall, that could be chalked up to almost anything.
Right.
But yeah, with the combination of the EVP and the thumping and that's creepy.
No. I firmly believe that there was something there that was, kind of tormenting them for sure. I don't know exactly what it is, and I don't prescribe to be an expert on any of those things, but I do certainly believe that, human beings can only see certain things in the visual light spectrum. We can only hear certain frequencies. I firmly believe that there is shit that exists beyond our range of what we are capable of interacting with, on
absolutely.
I agree.
Conscious,
100%.
on a conscious
For
basis.
us to be so naive to think that we understand what's happening around us is ridiculous. I mean, but the idea with people looking up in the sky and seeing the moon and just being nonchalant about it. That's another friggin'
rock
planet
in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah, we're the only ones here. That's right. You stare up, you're looking at fucking infinity.
Yeah,
it just happens to go on.
Go outside and look up
forever.
and think about what you're looking at.
You can't even think about it. It's too big.
And it's still expanding.
Right.
It's so absurd. I feel like that's man's ultimate masturbatory statement. Like I am God and there's nothing beyond me, and it's impossible that anything else could exist beyond what we are here on this planet. It's fucking stupid. But I digress. The second thing. So my mother for years worked for hospice. She was a registered nurse.
Right.
And her job was literally to go around, and this is, in Kentucky, in particular, Eastern Kentucky, like way out in the mountains and the hills. She would go out and visit people who were dying. I mean, these people were dying of cancer or whatever it was. Literally, in their last days, hours, minutes,
their
her job
times
was
for some of those.
Yeah, to provide medication and treatment and these other things that she would do. So, I mean, I asked her one time, I was like, how many people have you been with that passed? And it took her to answer, and she said, honestly, probably hundreds. And she had done it for years. I mean, to be around that many people, kind of crossing over to the other side, first of all, that's very weird and a little unsettling. But as someone who
can you imagine how much that would drain you too?
Well, and it kind of makes you a beacon. in a sense.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
It
Being someone who
attracts
believes
energies and entities to you.
being someone who believes in energy anyway, I think that, things have a way of attaching themselves residually to people, places, and things. So on this particular day, she had gone up way up in the hills of, I think it was Jackson County somewhere. And she told me the story. It was a house that had been there for like 100 years. It was made out of like logs and like, it had been in these people, their family, for like 100 years. She said part of the house still had dirt floor. Okay, like
wow,
that's what we're talking, right? So the fact that they had electricity was a miracle. It was almost like being homeless with electricity. So
right.
Anyway, she went up there, and it was this older man who was passing away, and she said there was all of these like weird hoodoo things in the house. Like, she's a Christian and whatever with that, but like in Appalachia specifically, and in the country, especially the farther into the hills and the mountains you get, the darker and the weirder it gets. Right. And people are extremely superstitious, and you see a lot of like, it's almost like hillbilly voodoo. I don't know what else to call it, like Blair Witch kind of shit.
Right,
like
the witch in the woods.
They create, like all kinds of little, it's hard to explain, but trinkets and stuff. They're supposed to ward off evil spirits, talismans, things like that. So she said that these things were like all over the house, and the guy, he did not die a pleasant death. This man died screaming.
Was he cursed?
It wasn't like a.
He got taken. That man got taken. Yeah. Something came and tore him right out of the fucking bed sheets. So she was pretty shook up. It was not a good day. So she comes home, and I was like 22 at the time. I was living with her, and we're both sitting in the living room, and we had a table in between the couch and the chair. And we're both sitting there smoking, and she's reliving, the horror of her day. Right. And I swear to God, if I had not been sitting there, I would not believe what I'm about to tell you. But she's telling me this whole thing about this guy passing away. Right. And I was looking at the lamp, and I was looking for some reason at the cord because it was plugged in directly underneath it. It looked like something literally grabbed the hold of the cord and jerked it out of the wall.
Like the cord to the lamp?
Pulled completely the fuck out of the wall. Like, quick, fast.
Okay.
Like, if I reached down and grabbed the cord and yanked it.
It out.
And it went completely dark in the house. Well, that's bad enough, right? So the second that happened, the way that the apartment was set up, like the parking spaces, you could literally pull like right up to the front door.
Right.
She had just purchased a new car like 6 months previously, and it had a theft deterrent system, an alarm. The second that fucking light went off, that cord yanked, the fucking car alarm went off, man.
No, that's freaky.
No.
Shit myself.
No.
That's where it's like, hold on, let me scare the shit out of you guys now. I'm gonna dip out.
Right.
I'm taking the car.
We literally just. She got up. She went outside. She shut the car alarm off. And I said, "Do you fucking believe that?" She said, "Yeah, no, I believe it."
Right.
I said, "Something's fucking following you around."
Right.
That's crazy.
It was very, very unnerving.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Especially with honestly, the car being outside too. Like that's separate from being in the house.
Right.
It gives me goosebumps still when I think about it. But interestingly enough, like she had other things like that happen to her on a pretty regular basis when she was doing that job. She was around death so much, so often.
Right.
She's such a nice, warm, and she really is. I love my mother. I doubt she'll listen to this. She certainly won't listen to the last one, the jerking off.
Let's hope not. Maybe we don't include that in the.
But yeah, I mean, she's such a warm, loving, giving person, and people, got attached to her, of course. And I think that some people who, wherever they were going, I'm not going to get into a metaphysics discussion about that, wherever they were going, clearly maybe we're still sort of attached to her energy. I don't know. But that was one of the weirdest goddamn things I've ever seen. That plug literally jerked right out of the wall, and then the car alarm went off, and
crazy.
I shit myself, but not because
I'm not
of a
going
burrito.
anywhere tonight.
Yeah, no, I got you. No, I know what you mean.
Oh, that's a good one. Those are some good stories. You always
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
the good
I know,
stories.
he does. He's killing them.
I have lived the lives of 10 men.
Well, that's why you're in the horror community, right?
Absolutely.
That's right.
That's what we're here
I'm
for.
not
We
done
live
yet.
for it.
Just getting started, baby. Just
Crazy,
getting
crazy,
started.
crazy.
We
Right?
love to
So,
hear
yeah.
it.
All right. Well, Sam, thanks for calling in. Yeah, absolutely, dude. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get this railed up, and hopefully, maybe we get Dan next week. Dan's got to have a story or two.
Ooh, I'm sure Dan's got a story.
Absolutely.
Dan-
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Let's see if we can
calling
get my
in
mom
this
next week.
week. Ooh.
No, she won't do this.
Dan's at a Mexican restaurant right now. Otherwise he'd be
Oh yeah.
participating.
No, I hope he's got a good burrito or something. But
Not that burrito, though. Not that.
you know what I'm talking
Wah, wah.
about. Yeah, do I have
All
that?
right.
Where is it? Where
Well,
is it? Where is
thank
it?
you for having me on. As always.
Yeah, thank you for calling in, Sam. You're awesome. We love to hear from you too.
All
You're a
the
cool
time,
guy.
all the time. Taylor's here. Taylor, great to see you. But yeah, guys, that's the show. So now I'm going to ask that trivia question for our last remaining people. I don't think the two of them were on when we asked the first time. So
Yeah,
it's
in case you
name
guys
a
missed the
horror
answer, too.
franchise that was, go ahead. Name a horror franchise that was based on an episode of The X-Files.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Sam's not allowed to answer.
Sam's not allowed to answer. Sam already answered.
I can't do the
Do we have the music?
Close enough.
Close enough.
We got to get the Jeopardy style music in there.
Well, yeah, because there's no copyright on that.
No, I said style. Okay. Make our
All right, for the listeners who did not hear us earlier, the answer was Sam won the contest, I guess. And the answer was the horror franchise that was based on an episode of The X-Files.
Final Destination.
Hallelujah. All right, it is definitely dinner time. You guys have
It
an
is that time.
amazing night. We appreciate everybody who came and listened. And
Make
these
sure
will-
you like, subscribe to horror-tv.com if you have not already. Follow us on our social medias and
There
tune
is-
into our lives. We do it weekly.
Absolutely. There is a page for this show on Facebook as well called the Horror Hotline. So please go like and subscribe to that show.
Give us some love.
to that page. We'll put some links up on the social media to that page so you guys, because we'll always put the episode up on Horror TV as well. Excuse me. And we're working on getting it up live so you guys can just watch on Roku and watch on Fire TV. Roku is back up and running. Fire TV should be fixed now. They have resubmitted. We are just waiting for the approval from Fire TV for the second version of the app.
Cool.
Normally they put updates out, but your app is working when they put the updates out. But when you submit, it takes like a week of BS for them to approve it.
Right. Get back to you.
Yeah. Sam, thanks for calling in again, man. We'll talk to you soon. You have an amazing night, and be safe, brother.
Scary, you
Yes,
creepy
Sam.
people.
Thank you for calling Horror Hotline.
No,
Bye.
without me overdoing it. You could do that again.
Oh, you want me to say it
Do
again?
it again.
Thank you for calling Horror Hotline.
Ooh.
Is that good?
Dude,
Is that
see what I
good?
mean? That's a good little
Yeah,
sound bite. That's gonna. That's a
That
TikTok.
takes me back to like 1989 and like 900 numbers that I shouldn't have been calling that my parents were really upset when they got the bill.
Ooh.
Oh yes.
We should do like a commercial thing like that.
How many times did you do it from work and hope you didn't get caught?
I never got that. I didn't do it at work, but I did it once. I remember my stepdad opening that phone bill and he actually sat down and cried. It
Oh,
was
no.
not good, bro.
Oh my god.
It was not good. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
back
it's, no, you got,
20 years ago, I had a little hacking machine that I used on. I'd learned how to hack phones, and all you had to do is put a recording of that quarter noise going into the pay machine up to the mouth of the phone. and it would register as coins going through the system.
That's
So I had
crazy.
this little. It was a hack. You know, it was built for this. You just put it up to the mouth of the phone. You click it how many times you want quarters to go through, and you could make a call.
God, I miss when technology was easier to beat.
Right.
Yeah, no,
When
now
technology
forget it.
was stupid,
Yeah,
and now it's
forget it.
smart.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy back then. It was so easy to. Well, the tech was nothing. I mean, it was literally nothing. If you knew anything, it was nothing. I mean, it was forget. I mean, even now you can. Well, we probably shouldn't talk about this. I mean, you want to get the lights to change. There's, when the lights are designed, the stoplights and go,
Oh no! Don't tell me that. I'll
oh yeah,
cheat.
they're designed so that when they see the rollers on a police car or
That they'll change. I knew
they'll
that.
change, yeah.
I always figured that. At least I never knew for sure.
there
but I
was
figured.
there was something in the Anarchy Bible that had a strobe light that you reprogrammed, so it wasn't throwing
Yeah.
off red and blue. It was just it would do the
Right.
flash at the right sequence.
That it would trigger the
It would
lights.
show lights.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You little dirty.
I don't think that
cheats.
works anymore either. So, I can't
Nah.
imagine
I
that
hope
works
not.
anymore. Can't imagine that works anymore. You get an emergency vehicle. You just put not a responder, a broadcaster in it, and then a little
Right.
receiver. and a
Bada bing,
light.
bada boom.
All right,
Bada
I just
bing.
came up with a new device that probably doesn't exist, so let's get that patented and get that stuff in. But again,
Yeah.
thank you everybody for calling. Sam, I'm hanging up on you now. You have a great night. We'll catch you soon.
Bye, Sam.
Appreciate
All right,
you.
bye.
Later, brother.
Horror-TV.com.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You hang up before they finish
Yeah, they
their
always talk
sentences.
so much. You give them a little bit of time.
I'm done with you.
All right, Sam, we love you. You guys have a great night, and we will be
Great
back
week.
next week at 6:30 on Thursday, Arizona time. We don't change the friggin' thing. But
And in the meantime, if you have any stories you want to call in or be featured on our show, make sure you reach out to Thomas or me or Horror Hotline.
make them go to the Horror Hotline Facebook page.
So yeah, go to the Horror Hotline Facebook page and reach out to us, and we would love to feature you on our show.
Absolutely, we would. All right, guys, you have a great night. We'll see you next time.